Minglawa, welcome to Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. We've got the latest news and reports. Hluttaw began its discussion on Second Amendment Bill of 2008 Constitution. As Buddhists, what's considered to be a noble deed for all mankind, 9,000 oil lamps donated on Hluttaw Pagoda for COVID-19 victims. A story coverage on China's economy to stay strong despite temporary slowdown amidst a virus outbreak. And the last report on Asia's largest photo and advocacy event that opened on the 19th of February. We'll get to the reports in a while, but before that, let's take a look at the local news. State Councillor, who's also the chairperson of the Central Committee for Development of Border Areas and National Races, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, met with the local people in Myawaddy and Limebue townships in Kayin State on Tuesday. The State Councillor said, if we want our country to make advances, we should cultivate in each and every individual heart empathy and sympathy towards the weaker souls. She said, if we want to build a qualified country, first we should qualify ourselves. Otherwise, you have not qualified yourselves, but if you criticize others for lacking the qualifications, that will be a verbal act of inconsistency. The State Councillor also said, taking measures for the development of our country aims at creating many more job opportunities for our people. Today, the word democracy has become a household word. One advantage of democracy is providing people with many choices. In terms of politics, people have the right to choose the kind of government they like and give votes and elect the representatives they want. When democracy has been developed and the economy of the nation has been consolidated, you will have more job opportunities for earning a living. Our people need help because development still lies beyond our reach. Therefore, we must work harder so as to get developed more and more, consolidated more and more. However, alongside development, peace is a necessity. A donation of medical equipment was delivered by the Defense Services of Myanmar to China in order to facilitate success in their fight against the outbreak and spread of coronavirus disease 2019. Adjutant General Lieutenant General Myo Zaw-Thein led the delegation and left for China by a military aircraft Tuesday morning. The medical equipment donation includes 90,000 surgical masks, 90,000 Type N95 particulate respirator masks, and 90,000 safety goggles, which are worth over $300,000. The Myanmar military delegation arrived in Kunming International Airport and was welcomed by Political Officer Major General Zhang Pingjun of Guilin Center of the Joint Logistics Support Force of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The Ministry of Health and Sports hosted the 5th Interministerial Meeting for Preventive Measures Against Coronavirus Disease Tuesday. Permanent Secretary Professor Dr. Tak Kai Win, in his capacity as the chairman of the Interministerial Coordination Committee, explained the spread of COVID-19 to South Korea, Japan, and other countries, while South Korea is in the ascending phase of transmission. He also discussed constant screening and surveillance of foreign visitors and the top prioritized emergency issue of the Ministry of Health and Sports to prevent and control the possible infection cases. The MOHS has invited participation of relevant agencies in conducting surveillance at international gateways and hospitals and awareness campaigns. Dr. Tak Kai Win also held talks on preparatory measures for the religious titles conferring ceremony to the renowned monks in Naypyidaw, coordination with the Departments of Immigration and Foreign Affairs, postponement of ASEAN-level health cluster meeting, and preparations for the possible return of exchange students from the foreign countries with the outbreak of COVID-19. He also discussed measures to alleviate the possible impact of the disease on hotel and tourism, trade, social and economic sectors. That's all with the local news, and here's the first report on Myanmar Today. Hluttaw representatives began to discuss the Second Amendment Bill of 2008 Constitution on Tuesday, the 15th day of Second Hluttaw 15th regular session. Altogether, 149 representatives are to continue the discussion within the 10 days of the regular session. Daw Aung San reports.
ပြည်ထောင်စုလွှတ်တော်ကိုယ်စားလှယ်များခင်ဗျာဒီကနေ့ကျင်းပတဲ့ဒုတိယအကြိမ်ပြည်ထောင်စုလွှတ်တော်15ကြိမ်မြောက်ပုံမှန်အစည်းအဝေး12ရက်မြောက်နေ့မှာ
Regarding the amendment of 2008 Constitution as the top priority, the Joint Committee to scrutinize second bill for amending 2008 Constitution was formed and it submitted the report on the amendment bill to Hluttaw on 10 February. Altogether, 149 Hluttaw representatives proposed to discuss the sessions and subsessions of the Second Amendment Bill of 2008 Constitution. Hluttaw started the discussion on 25 February, which is the 15th day of Second Hluttaw's 15th regular session, and 15 Hluttaw representatives presented the discussion points.
The Ulin 10 minutes in it, Sunume Hluttaw 149
The discussion of Hluttaw representatives focused on the highlighted facts such as voting system of the Hluttaw to seek approval for the amendment, role of Tamaraw in pillars of governance, democracy criteria, participation of Tamaraw in the Hluttaws, and the criteria for the positions of president and vice presidents. Some of the Hluttaw representatives discussed the Section 436A, which states in current 2008 Constitution that the relevant sections in the Constitution can be made changes with over 75% of vote in favor of total representatives and with over 50% of agreement of total citizens who has the right to vote by holding the national referendum. Concerning the role of Tamaraw in governance pillars as well as in the Hluttaws, the Hluttaw representatives discussed to keep the same statements as present. For Section 59F in the Amendment Bill, it is proposed to dismiss the section, which states in the current Constitution that the President and the Vice Presidents shall himself or one of the parents or the spouse, one of the legitimate children or their spouses, not own allegiance to a foreign power, not be a subject of a foreign power or a citizen of a foreign country. They shall not be persons entitled to enjoy the rights and privileges of a subject of a foreign government or citizen of a foreign country. And the Hluttaw representatives presented their perspectives on this point.
2008ဖွဲ့စည်းပုံအခြေခံဥပဒေနဲ့အဆိုပါအခြေခံဥပဒေအရဖြစ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့ရွေးကောက်ပွဲများလွှတ်တော်များနဲ့အစိုးရဖွဲ့စည်းမှုများဟာဒီမိုကရေစီအသွင်ကူးပြောင်းရေးရဲ့အစလို့ပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်ပြောလို့ရပါတယ်
2008 Constitution and the elections, Hluttaws and governance found based on this Constitution may be defined as the initiated for Myanmar's democracy transition. However, this political relief has been long for a decade. So this is the time to take another step for strengthening the democracy in the country.
Democracy စနစ်ခိုင်မာအားကောင်းရေးဆိုတဲ့အဆင့်ကိုခြေလှမ်းလှမ်းဖို့ကျမတို့လိုအပ်နေပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
For the agreement of changes in each session, over 75% of vote in favor is required, and the proposed Hluttaw representatives will continue discussion within 10 days of the Hluttaw's regular session. This is Dora Suizin reporting from MI Radio.
That's a report on Pidangsu Hluttaw commencing discussion on Second Amendment Bill of 2008 Constitution. All right, we'll carry on with the next report on a devotional offering ceremony for COVID-19 victims here on Myanmar Today. With an aim to strengthen the mentality and healing of the COVID-19 victim, the China-Myanmar Friendship Association has organized a 9,000 oil lamps devotional offering ceremony at the Chandaji corner of Shitagong Pagoda on Monday. David Tanner will tell us more.
As the COVID-19 coronavirus has been spreading in some countries in the world in an unfortunate rate, people from all over the world has been fighting against it in each of their own ways. With the motive to help fight this COVID-19 virus spiritually and mentally for all the people around the world, Myanmar-China Friendship Association has held a 9,000 oil lamps devotional offering ceremony. With that said, I have interviewed Siaro Badanta Narada Bivamsa, who is the vice patron from Pali Takado Nyangdong Monastery.
At 8 p.m. on 24th February, 9,000 oil lamps will be devotionally offered to the Shitagong Pagoda, led by the Myanmar-China Friendship Association. And on the 25th February, about 108 sanghas, as well as some members from Myanmar-China Friendship and other pagodas members of Border Trustee will be present to read, devote, and pray Yadana Sultan, which is one of the Buddha teachings for all the people in the world to quickly heal from the unfortunate COVID-19 virus and also to aid in their mentality while braving the virus.
Sayadaw Bhadanda Narada Bhivamsa also continued to say the current situation of COVID-19 and how we could pay attention to it, and we should give as much aid as we can.
As we all know now that COVID-19 has been spreading to over 30 countries and has infected to over 70,000 people, with the death toll of over 2,500 people, we can confirm now that it is really a worrisome threat for all the people in the world now. But we also have a positive and fighting chance as well, with over 20,000 people recovered from the disease. And that is why we should be carrying ourselves more in the way of strengthening the spiritual health of our body through devotions and also our physical health by caring ourselves and helping other people who are in need.
The lighting of the oil lamps at Hluttaw Pagoda is a tradition that dates back well before the days of electricity. Locals and pilgrims alike would donate oil lamps in their hundreds and even thousands so that worshippers could enjoy the pagoda after dark when the temperature is cooler, or to pay devotions of prayer while lighting up to the people who are in need of prayers and healing. By taking part in this tradition and lighting a few yourself, you can be part of this atmospheric and age-old ritual. With that said, I have interviewed Myanmar Zin, who is the treasurer of Myanmar-China Friendship Association, for her perspective of the COVID-19 and about the event.
Now that everyone in the world knows about the COVID-19 virus that has started its outbreak in Hubei province, Wuhan City. According to WHO, based on analysis of 44,000 cases of COVID-19 in Hubei province, around 80% of patients only have a mild form of the disease. 14% developed more severe disease, such as pneumonia, 5% have critical disease, and 2% of cases are fatal. As the WHO has also been working together with all the countries, and as China's government has been taking really admirable actions in fighting against the virus. As Myanmar is a neighboring country, we think it is a good time for us to aid and the way we can. Like now, by donating 9,000 wine lamps as a devotion to Hluttaw Pagoda to heal other people in the world.
Myanmar Zin also told MR Radio for how we also should stay positive for our fighting chances.
The situation for now has been improving. The mindsets for all the people in the world towards us against also became really strong. That's why we should stay positive while fighting it. Our Myanmar-China Friendship Association has been doing things in the way we can, and now that we are to donate 9,000 wine lamps in this prestigious Hluttaw Pagoda, I hope and wish that everyone in the world could be healed and this COVID-19 to be halted as soon as possible.
Reporter David Tanner reporting from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on 9,000 oil lamps donated on Hluttaw Pagoda for COVID-19 victims. Let's have a look at the currency rates now from Myanmar Central Bank and the Stock Exchange. $1 is at 1,446 kyats. 1 Chinese renminbi is at 206 kyats. 1 euro is at 1,571 kyats. 1 pound sterling is at 1,877 kyats. 1 Singapore dollar is at 1,034 kyats. 1 Malaysian ringgit is at 341 kyats. 1 Thai baht is at 45 kyats, and the Indian rupee is at 20 kyats. Gold is trading at $1,639. Silver is at $18. And Brent crude oil is at $50. On the Yangon Stock Exchange, FMI is at 12,000. MTSH is at 4,000. MCB went up 100 and it's at 8,300. FPB went up 500 and it's at 23,000. TMH is at 2,900. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. With the infection rate stabilizing and the effective measures and policy in place, businesses in China have resumed operation except for the outbreak epicenter, Hubei province. In the short term, the economic loss is hugely significant while the economy is expected to rebound in the long run. For more on the revenue Chinese government plans to manage and the impact on global supply chain, our reporter Akajo reached out to CMG's senior journalist Xu Qingduo. Here's his report.
While China faces present challenges brought about by the coronavirus outbreak, experts are optimistic about the recovery of the economy into the year. It is learned that China's 1.4 billion consumers are making less consumption during the outbreak, but it is not a complete consumption cut. As of February 22nd, over 20,000 have recovered from the infection. With the infection rate stabilizing and the effective measures and policy in place, the businesses in China have resumed operation except the outbreak epicenter, Hubei province. In the short term, the economic loss is hugely significant while the economy is expected to rebound in the long run. CMG's senior journalist, Mr. Xu Qingdao, continued to explain more on the short-term impact.
Well, the revenue, yes. The finance ministry has warned that the revenue for this year will be reduced, but of course we don't have an exact number, like what percentage of the revenue will be reduced. But the warning is that government agencies, different government departments, they should spend as less as possible in terms of their administration or unnecessary meetings, for example. So the country will spend the money to help the companies to relieve their pressure, for example, to delay the payment of social insurance or even reduce some of the rent for the small businesses. And also you need to probably more investment to boost the economic growth for the whole year. So that is the general prospect or the idea people have right now.
Many manufacturers in China are reluctant to take a risk amid virus outbreak and put their industries in operation again. At the same time, the international trading and businesses depending on Chinese market are expected to face a huge consequence. Recently, a big manufacturing company, Apple, announced that they are lowering the sales forecast. The iPhone supply shortage will temporarily affect the businesses worldwide. At the same time, the country's neighbor, Myanmar, with the largest export volume to China, also suffers as the border trade has been put on hold. The border trade is expected to resume on 25th February on the condition that people will be quarantined 14 days before the entry. Mr. Shou also gave comment on the impact. He also added that the impact on the economy will be temporary and the economy is expected to get better in the long run.
Well, lastly, about the international supply chain, basically the impact on the global supply chain. Yes, there is an impact on the global supply chain because you can see some of the international flights are being suspended, and at the same time, a lot of international companies rely on the Chinese factories to produce these necessary products. They can produce the final products to sell to the market. For example, Apple, the iPhone maker, is issuing a warning that for the first quarter, their revenue probably will fall below the expectation because of this pressure on the global supply chain.
According to the record of Myanmar Ministry of Commerce, the border trade volume of Myanmar between October 2019 to February 2020 reached $3,981.204 million, but some of the border gates are still closed and the export products have been delayed. Wuhan, the epicenter of the new coronavirus outbreak, plans to build another 19 makeshift hospitals to receive more infected patients, local authorities said Friday. Upon completion, all makeshift hospitals in Wuhan are expected to offer 30,000 beds by February 25th. This is Agajo reporting for Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on China's economy to stay strong despite temporary slowdown amidst a virus outbreak. And here's the last report on Asia's largest photo and advocacy event opened on the 19th of February. For its 12th edition, the Yangon Photo Festival has been opened at Goethe Institute on 19th of February with a photo book exhibit, a series of shows, and a party. It also set up a photo village on Mahabanula Park during the weekend, with exceptional documentaries on a giant LED screen, exhibitions including the World Press Photo and a photo studio. David Turner has the details.
The opening ceremony started with the upbeat showcasing of photo books from various countries and from a variety of artists around the world, including Indonesia, France, and Myanmar. The diversity of photographs and stylized printing of each and every photos were purely breathtaking. With that said, I've interviewed Miss Kiran, who is one of the participants of the Yangon Photo Festival and the publisher of Guari Gallery.
My partner Andi Ari and Stiadi and I are participating in Yangon Photo Festival 2020. Guari Gallery is a photo book gallery based in Jakarta, Indonesia. So this year we bring around 38 titles of Indonesian photo books. So at first we open the submissions to all Indonesian photographers who produce photo books. So we selected and we bring photo book selection. Our tagline is a personal story for you. So we are looking for personal photographs that matters and relate to anyone. But for this time, we engage Indonesian photographers and local publishers that have Indonesian content.
One of the artists in the showcase section of the ceremony blows my mind in where she creates a phenomenal minimalistic photo art with a classic way of printing. The artist's name is Miss Isabella, and she will tell us more about her photography artwork of our Myanmar's very own beautiful Ayeyarwady River.
Yes, it's a work about Irrawaddy River, and I start to collect some information of a scientist, and with this information I begin to start to work and I begin to travel from north to south in Irrawaddy. And there I made the picture during my trip and I passed through different process. But after I chose to focus only on some figures that were like surviving for me, and to those figures that had a real connection with the river. And first, I made a process with a very analogic classical printing. I more experiment with the support and the materiality of photography using a technique of 19th century.
I have also interviewed Mr. Stephen Noel, who is renowned for making gum bichromate prints using a multi-layered printing process that originated in the 19th century. It can take him up to 10 days to make a single print. Mr. Noel will share us more of his photography artworks about which he wanted to pay tribute to the last charcoal burners of Cuba, also known as swamp people.
Here what is exhibited, it's a work that I did between 2011 and 2016. Different trips to Cuba to talk about the last generation of charcoal burners. It's probably the last generation because now the country is more and more open to tourism and the young people, they don't want to do this very hard work. And that's one reason. And also some international investors are coming with new technologies, so they will probably continue to make charcoal out of wood in Cuba, but not with this ancient way. They are mainly located on the Bay of Pig, the most wild area of Cuba where they were working, and there were no roads, no electricity, no school, no hospital, nothing. It was the swamps. So this group of charcoal burners knew the area so well because as they didn't have road and it was forest and swamps, it was impossible to cut the wood and to transport it. So they were using the water of the swamp to push the wood to where they wanted. So they really knew the area by heart. And thanks to that, the history is what it is today. I mean, they played a very important role in the history of Cuba with the invasion in 61.
Mr. Stephen Noel also told MR Radio for the real catch of why these charcoal burners are and how we can learn from them.
I wanted to meet these people because it was something like most of my project. It was something that I had no idea about, and I wanted to learn from them, to know more about their life, about their history, and to see a different way of living. So, and it's most of the thing that I'm doing, it's really concentrated on human beings. I'm really trying for them to be as natural as possible, and it takes quite a long time.
Reporter David Tanner reporting from Myanmar International Radio.
That's all we have for today's reports. Now, let's keep up with the world with international news here on Myanmar Today. Countries around the world need to follow China's example when fighting and preparing for COVID-19, a top World Health Organization expert said on Tuesday upon returning from the epicenter of the outbreak. Bruce Aylward, head of the joint WHO-China mission, warned that the rest of the world was not ready to deal with the virus, although they could get ready fast should they replicate responses undertaken by China. The WHO has consistently called for international cooperation in fighting COVID-19. The organization undertook, along with the Chinese government, a mission to the infected area, namely the epicenter of the outbreak, Wuhan, in Hubei province, which remains under quarantine.
A phenomenal collective action and cooperation by the people of China to this response. And the interesting thing is, people have commented on that and say, oh, that's easy in a society or a political system like China. It isn't. It's never easy to get the kind of passion, commitment, interest, and an individual sense of duty that it's our duty to help stop this virus. I mean, we spoke to hundreds of people. It was a medical team coming in from Guangdong to be part of the 40,000 healthcare workers from other parts of China that have come in, many of whom volunteered to go into Wuhan and help with the response.
Fourth graders in a Chinese language immersion program in Utah recently got a letter from a very important person. Last month, some students at Cascade Elementary School in Orem, Utah, sent China's President Xi Jinping 50 Chinese New Year cards, and Xi Jinping recently wrote back. We have a video clip here. Let's take a look.
Dear boys and girls, my greetings to you. I'm so happy to get lovely cards from you on the Chinese New Year. I have read them all. Thank you for the wonderful thoughts. I've been to the United States multiple times, but not yet to Utah. I hope there will be an opportunity for me to be there, and if so, to visit you all in person. Just like you, I'm also fond of reading and sports. No matter how busy I am, I always try to find some time for exercise. China, like the United States, is a very big country. We have a civilization that is over 5,000 years old. The Chinese people, like the American people, are warm-hearted and friendly. The Chinese language has over 1 billion speakers in the world. By learning it, you may know more about Chinese history and culture. I'm really glad to see that you can write such beautiful Chinese characters and are so fluent in the language. I hope you will keep at it, make even bigger progress, and become young ambassadors for Sino-American friendship. This year is the Year of the Rat in the Chinese lunar calendar. I wish you all happiness, health, and progress in the new year. You're most welcome to visit China. Signed, Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. I think we should be quiet.
Carla Sechel, a professor of microbiology immunology at Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine, is a part of the task force doing research for a vaccine that will help prevent China's COVID-19 outbreak from becoming a pandemic. Sechel explains her work and why fighting misinformation is crucial too.
There's a lot of competition going on because everybody sort of wants to get there first. It's the first to share as fast as possible, which has never before been seen. So I, for one, think it's a great win for the sharing community and hope that it's held up as an example. There was ideas that were put out there that this might have been bioengineered, and that was used for discrimination purposes. And this is something that people are doing to drive racism and discrimination. The scientists have disproven those over and over and over again.
And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Henry Zin. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.